Boom! It is
There it is.
Friday, ladies and gents.
sure
I'm
is.
super pumped. We get to talk relationships again with my favorite therapist from the IG world. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Woo! James, you got another fire intro for today?
Yeah. I got just a small one. So, but of course, all you business pros out there, before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever form it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesomeness. Rise up in the podcast rankings. We will sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, go to www.businessbros.biz/podcast guest to schedule your time slot. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at Business Bros Pod. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back for round 2 on the Business Bros Pod is an incredible relationship therapist with over 20 years experience helping individuals, couples, and families find long-lasting solutions and strengthen their relationships. Not to mention, she's the one who me come out as polyamorous when she interviewed me on her weekly Instagram live, where she answers all kinds of relationship questions and always has super interesting guests. So be sure to give her a follow there. Let's welcome back to the show our trilingual relationship expert extraordinaire. Welcome back, and let's get ready to ask Anita Astley.
It's always a party when Anita's in the house.
Heck yeah. Welcome back, Anita.
Yeah, welcome back. You know, I feel like I see you every day, though. Like I've connected with you.
Yep.
Oh, are we wobbly voice again?
Yeah, James, I'm so sorry, but it's that I can't. The audio is having difficulty today. I don't know what's going on, so I didn't hear the question, but I appreciate that amazing intro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hopefully that. Can you hear me though?
We're still having the same problem. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let's hope we're gonna.
Oh, it's back. Oh, it's fine.
All right. Perfect. Let's leave it like this. Don't move, James. You're staying on.
Nobody moves.
I feel like when you were younger. Well, when I was younger, we used to have that green TV. And like it would mess up the color. You had to go and bang it on the corner or hold the antenna the right way for it to work.
And then you just stand there.
Yeah, the youngsters don't quite know what that's like, right? They don't even watch TV. They're all about the YouTube.
No idea.
So Anita, welcome to the program. And what I was saying was, I feel like I see you every single day. You're giving so much different advice all the time. And we're entering the holiday season. So thank you for what you do first and foremost. And second, how's Christmas over there where you're at?
We're trying to get it together in Wisconsin. We're like one of the highest states with COVID, but we're not going to talk about COVID today. We're going to focus on all the good stuff we can do during the holidays, just to bring back some normalcy in our lives. So
I love
people are out and about shopping with masks, and we are going out, but we have masks on, social distancing, supporting local business, because, we're all about supporting local business, not just shopping online on Amazon. So I would say Christmas is rocking it in Wisconsin, especially in my house with all my peeps and my Instagram peeps. I'm telling them we're not going to get down. We're going to celebrate.
All right. I've seen pictures of your elf. Your elf has been around your home. Look at it. There he is right there. There's the elf, right? Creepy little elf, right? We have one in our household too. Creepy little elves in our household.
But that's a terrible way to talk about your kids.
So the whole story behind the elf is supposed to report back to Santa so that we know if the kids were good or bad, right? And then we get Christmas presents. Now, what about the spouses or the significant others? What's some good stuff that you think we should whisper to the elf that we should get for Christmas?
Okay. Well, first, before we even get to a list or any sort, we need to stop, because I hear this all the time in my office and also with my friends, and we've got to just stop doing this. We decided we're not getting anything for each other this year, but we'll buy everything for the kids, the mailman, the bus driver, all the teachers, and then nothing for each other. And what ends up happening from years of experience and listening to the same story after Christmas, I didn't get anything. Okay, were those expectations set? Did you act? Yeah, we usually don't. Well, how do you expect it to change if you don't talk about it, right? In my household, we have expectations on those holidays, birthdays, whatever. They're clear. As long as the expectations are clear. But let's change that one. If you have that one in your relationship or with your friends or family, everybody likes to get a little bit of something, don't you think?
All right. Well, let me ask you this, because this is what happens in my household. I'm usually like, babe, pick whatever you want, order it, get it here. I'll wrap it so you can open it in Christmas. That does the same thing for me, right? It's kind of.
We got a lot of work to do today.
All right. Help me out. Like, am I messing things up? I mean, we've been together 20 years. It's got to be working a little bit.
Well, I'm not saying it's not working, but what about the element of surprise? I think everybody likes to be surprised. And when people say, oh, I don't believe it. It's a bunch of BS. We all like to have a little bit of surprise in our life, especially with COVID. It's so blah, everything is so, restricted. And we want to have an element of surprise. I think if you've been with your partner that long, you should by now, I would think, know a little bit of what she would like. And you should go out and buy something. Even if it's you get something from her list, you can do something else that's a surprise. Who doesn't like a surprise? I love surprises.
Yeah, but here's my argument to that all the time. It's not that I don't buy her things, right? It's just right. I surprise her more often than not. It's just on Christmas Day. Like, I don't know. If you ask my kids, I'm the Grinch when it comes to Christmas. Like, I'm not a fan of Christmas because of the obligation feeling. Right. Because I feel like it's very heavy on obligation. Like, you're supposed to do this. You have to do this. It's all about the material. Like, I love Thanksgiving.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Thanks, James. Thanks.
Something happened in between there. Well, okay, I agree with you that Thanksgiving it's one of my favorite holidays too, because it's more about getting together with the family and it's quality time, sharing in really relationships and food and all that good stuff, right? But Christmas, there's going to be some gift giving. And I did a recent show on reciprocity. I don't know if you guys saw that. It is so important in relationships to have reciprocity. And I do think that, I agree. There's that pressure people talk about at Christmas, and they don't like that they have to go out and get something. But you can also be very creative about what it is that you give. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's materialistic. We can give with our time, we can give with our attention, we can have a date, because all too often today it's easy to go and buy something, and we're not talking about cost here, but really time and attention is really something that's priceless. And today with the phone, I see people in restaurants, they are giving each other time, but there's no attention being paid to the other person.
That's powerful right there. By the way, reciprocity is one of my favorite, I guess I'll call it a strategy or tactic. It's been one of the best things in my relationship, because I know that, and I don't ask for like much of anything in return in my relationship. I'm more of I'm the giver, right? I'm like, I'll do the dishes. I'll make dinner. I'll make breakfast. I'll go do, like, I'm very much of the giving. And I do it because I know that if ever I wanted anything, you almost always feel obligated. And it's not just with my spouse, right? But it's with, it's the way I do business. It's the way I have, relationships with people in general. It's one of the greatest superpowered tools that you can use.
Yes.
And it makes you feel good when you give.
Yes,
right?
I know, but you just said something. It's a superpowered tool that you use. So eventually you are expecting some reciprocity, something to come back your way. It's only natural. It's only human. And you know what? If we are constantly giving and not getting anything back over time, you're going to feel resentful. You're going to have some resentment built in. You're going to get angry. You really are. You need to be able to bring it back to some type of balance. That, of course, is never going to be equal like this. As long as it's kind of like this, but there's always an expectation, I think, to get something in return. It might be in a very different form that you're able to give back, but giving way too much, I'm going to take you back to your childhood. What happened? Because it does go back to a sense of, people who feel like they have to overgive are really trying to deal with that child from the past to, maybe didn't feel loved in some way. I'm not saying that's you, okay? Because your mom was probably really good, because you guys were awesome. I'm just saying it goes back to that feeling of I need to give a lot so this person can like me. I mean, that's being really psychoanalytic about it on a very unconscious level, if that's your pattern. But if you're somebody who likes to spoil the other person, but you are getting something in return, that relationship is going to work out. All relationships need a certain amount of reciprocity. And when I think about the relationships in my life that haven't really worked that well, it's because, and I'm a giver too, I give, but over time, I've learned to step back. When I'm giving too much, I get that feeling of I'm not getting anything back. Then that's that child inside of me that's creeping out. Then I have to back up, because the only thing I can control is myself. I take a step back and I reevaluate, and I really stop over giving.
But you hovered on the fact earlier about, we always want something in return.
Yeah.
And I think one of the greatest things that I have in my relationship is that communication factor. Like, there's only a few things that I ever want, right? And if you're in a relationship and you're a guy, there's only a few things, right? And 2 or 3 things that you're really the sex, the food, right? There's only a few things that we ever want.
Alcohol.
Yeah, that's about it, right?
That's so stereotypical.
It's stereotypical, but it's a
Really?
stereotype because it exists. It's true, right?
Absolutely.
The problem I think that comes up is not that that stereotype doesn't exist, is that you're not actually telling your partner that that's what you're looking for, right? That look, I'm gonna make the coffee every morning. I'm gonna make the breakfast every morning, right? But my expectation, and it doesn't have to be like every single day, every hour, or anything like that, but my expectation is that in return, like, I don't always want to do the dishes, right?
Yeah,
just like you don't always.
Nobody wants to do the dishes, but you do them to make your system work well. But getting back to the sex part, and you'd asked me originally, what are some of the do's and don'ts for Christmas or stuff on the list? That's one of them. We can make coupons for each other. It doesn't cost anything, right? To get a cue card or something, and they're redeemable for whatever it is that you want. And it could be physical intimacy, to say, I might want to use this tonight. And you got to have some flexibility. You don't want to force your partner to have sex with you. There's nothing, right? That's not going to work out too well. But you have something that's not bought. It's not materialistic. So when we're talking about a want, there's different things that we want in relationships, like you're talking about. So your wife might want to buy, want to have a certain type of purse, but you have some physical intimacy on your list. And a way to do that is a coupon for different things in your relationship. And it doesn't cost anything. Because sometimes when I talk about this kind of stuff, people think, oh, you're being materialistic. I don't have the funds, especially with COVID, so stressed out. It doesn't have to be that way. We just have to be a little bit more creative when we're limited in our funds. But we should always try to be a little bit more creative anyway. Don't we get bored with the same stuff every Christmas, every year? I mean, it's kind of boring. And the way to keep relationships healthy and exciting, especially long-term relationships like yours, married for a long time, you got to kind of spruce it up once in a while and have an element of surprise. I don't know. What do you think, James?
I agree. I mean, it's fun to have. I definitely had some of those not cue cards, but it was something that I made for my wife a few years ago. It was just a little jar full of like reasons why I love you type of thing, and little things. Nan actually had a really good idea. I think it was this year that you gave Rosa the journal.
That's
So
a great idea.
yeah, those types of things that don't cost anything. It's just the effort that has gone into it, and
it's a time and attention.
Yeah, those are
right?
super special.
Yeah.
Well, I also have, I'm a big proponent of consistency, right? So I'll give you an example for Christmas. I know that every single year, Grandma's going to hook me up with some socks, right? And I don't care how boring you think socks are. I look forward to that every single year, right? And just like we were in COVID now, every single day I woken up, my kids are here, my wife is here. Like, there's certain things that in a consistent way you feel good about them having, about those things being there.
Yes.
So how do you spice it up if we're not really going anywhere right now? We're not going out anywhere. We're not doing much. Give me some tips on how to spice it up.
Yeah, then I would make the counter argument that because we're not going anywhere, we feel trapped, that we need to kick it up a notch. So we're not in this place of, oh my God, it's Groundhog's Day every day, with my leggings every day, with my t-shirt. It's like everybody's got a uniform in my family. Like, okay, wait a minute. Tonight we're all going to change out of those clothes and put some real clothes on, right? So that's the other side of that. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. And usually we're used to going out here and there. Most of us are, to work. We get dressed up. So we need to make the extra effort, actually, because we're stuck in the house to do something, because people are in a rut. They're in a psychological rut because we are stuck. We're not able to go, shopping like we would, enjoy the holidays, go see Santa Claus. I see Santa Claus at the mall, like, it's kind of sad. Nobody's going to be sitting on his lap because of COVID, but he's there.
True.
That is so true. Well, let's get into some gifting ideas then.
Okay.
So, what are some cool stuff? And I'll do it from a male's perspective. What are some cool things that a male can do for his female counterpart?
Okay, so I will tell you what not to do first, because I hear this and I'm thinking, like, I don't know what some men are thinking. Now, you guys, do not buy your partner appliances, anything that's to be utilized in the kitchen. It is never a good idea. I mean, I have guys who come in, they buy their wife pots and pans for Christmas, and I'm thinking, what are you thinking? And they're really shocked that the person, their wife or their partner, is upset about it, because that's really for the family. And my partner gave me pots. I'm like, seriously, you want me to cook? Are you going to cook something in this? So that's a no-no. Nothing related to chores. I think the best gifts are the ones that are related to some kind of activity that you're involved in. Say, if you're my husband and you're into beer, I would consider getting you a beer making kit, just something new and different to try. They also have, I didn't know about this, I recently learned this because I was looking at some options. They also have, you can subscribe to beer companies, and they will send you samples every month to try beers from different breweries, if that's your thing.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a very cool idea. Or if you like wine, you can get a wine making kit. These are not expensive things, but it also becomes an activity that you could possibly do with your partner if your partner is interested. So you get two presents in one. You get the wine, and then you get to spend some time together. Remember, we talked about attention and engagement. There's a great way to do it when we're stuck in the house with COVID. There's an activity for partners to engage in. But if you asked me about, some gift ideas for your female, your wife, your female partner, for guys out there. I think things like lessons that perhaps you would not give to yourself. Like, I would love to have a lesson, a piano lesson, or, somebody sent me drumsticks at one of my fathers, which is awesome. I'm thinking, wow, that would be cool. But it's not something I would give to myself, but I would love to receive that, because I think that's not really a priority. Do I really need to do things? So it's thinking about things that person probably would not do for themselves. Today, if your wife doesn't, want to pay for massages because she feels that money should go elsewhere, a lot of people feel like that, especially in times of COVID. I don't want to splurge on a massage when really, times are tighter, and you really should be saving that money for something else. That would be a great gift, because that's not something she's going to buy for herself. And it doesn't have to be anything expensive, or an hour with a trainer. People always around the holidays are looking, January, to get in shape again. An hour with the trainer. And that's not something that has to be repeated every week, but you can do, a couple of months, stretch it out, where you change up the program. So I think things like lessons, or even dance lessons you can do as a couple. So things like that, I think, that bring couples together, that help build their relationship, rather than, another purse or a pair of shoes. That's, I've received them. They're great for a couple of months, but they're kind of, you buy another pair and that's it. But when you buy things that are related and tied to an activity that you can engage in together, there's multiple benefits to that. So that's the kind of gift I'd like to receive.
That's true, because that's completely opposite of what I always think of when I think of Christmas, right? When I think of Christmas, I always think of the shoes or the purse or the clothes, right? But to do something even completely opposite, like, and it's funny because you're absolutely right. Like, my wife did fencing before COVID, right? And she was like, dude, I was so looking forward to doing that. She's like looking forward to having the whole sword and like jabbing at people and wearing the mask, right? She was looking forward to that. And when she went to the
Still
class,
got to wear the mask.
yeah, but she didn't really get to do she didn't have that whole experience, right? It was like you had to work your way. You have to wear the mask. I got
right,
it.
and you think of the benefits of that. So she gets to go out, do an activity. She learns something new. And if you wanted, you could join her. And that's growth on her part. It's nothing that she has done for herself, perhaps, and you give her a lesson by doing something different. In that case, she did it for herself. The other, the one that just came to mind when you were talking to me about the sword, is a self-defense course. I had one of my couples, he gave this to his wife for her birthday, and I thought, what an awesome idea. because safety wise, he was worried about her and all that kind of stuff. She loved it. It was great exercise for her. It got her to go out, and then she, can defend herself if something happened to her. So there are multiple benefits. That's a gift that kept on giving years later.
Well, I got to take a little quick plug. So, sorry, Anita, this one's going to be a little weird, but all right, ladies, maybe you guys can get your guy some Manscaped. What is Manscaped, ladies and gents? It's a nice little cool trimmer that has a nice little LED light. Okay. 7,000 RPMs. Guys, look, the slogan on Manscaped is very simple. Your balls will thank you. Keep yourself trim. And if you have that significant others, having yourself nice, clean, ready to rock and roll might be a good thing. I'm not saying that's the present you give, but when you're ready, she's going to thank you. You guys can go to manscaped.com, use the promo code Business Bros, free shipping and 20% off.
Interesting gift.
Right?
Don't send me pictures after you've used it, please.
All right, Anita, I got, and it's funny because I told my wife, I go, look, babe, today I gotta do the Manscaped promo on the show, right? And she's like, well, didn't you say she had these awkward situations happening? I'm like, look, I'm gonna try to do it so it's not awkward, but I know that once I mention it, she's gonna mention that. So let's talk about the unworthy gift, for example, right? And then let's talk to the guys out there. Guys, Anita, what should you not do?
For what? What's the question?
What should we not do? Share the situation, because you've been building your following very nicely. It's been growing.
Thank you.
But with the following that grows, you also have awkward situations that happen.
We can say the dick pics, right?
There you go. Yeah. Right.
And then, I posted on the guys are like, well, this happens to me. I'm like, well, I'm just talking about my experience. I have not, opened up my pictures and got boobs or vaginas or whatever it is. You know me, I always use long words, but I have had videos. I've had, I'm not casting director for porn flicks, guys. Because I said, can you evaluate? No, this is not evaluatedicks.com. Please send it somewhere else. But no, sometimes, because I don't know, I'm just not ready for that. So I'm checking my stuff. And this one in particular was very shocking because I really had to do a double. I was like, what? I'm like, oh God. Person was very creative about the way they presented it. When you're my age and you have to figure out what it is. You're like,
what am I looking at? Is it upside down? What's going on here?
I have to laugh, but at the same time, I'm like, what makes you do that? It's a shock value. But I just now, at the beginning, I was, more. I wasn't as abrupt. Now I just block, because I would, the therapist in me is like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what do you think this does for me? Right? I'm not going to respect you or like you, want to engage with you. I'm just going to block you. It's like going on a date and you drop your pants. Do you really do that? Not really.
You can't try to score on the first line, right? Like you can't just go straight to bed when you first meet somebody. Well, okay, I corrected, right? We do have Tinder these days, so I guess that is but there's a time and a place for that sort of thing, right?
I guess on social media, some people feel. And I'm going to say, from my experience, it's been men, but I hear from women that that women also do it to men. And I hear from it's mostly the women that I hear of. In my experience as a woman, it's been, I get all these dick pics and I'm not in shock anymore. And it's an interesting thing because I think, why would anybody want to show their tool? And I just got to say, it's not aesthetically pleasing. I put out that list. It's not. Unless you're in the moment, there's nothing attractive about it. And I'm not a lesbian, so but there's nothing, and I did get one of a scrotum. I'm like, dude, have you even looked at your own scrotum? Nothing pretty. See what you started?
Well, but let's talk about your growing your Instagram following, right? So you've been rocking it. You've been helping so many people, and you do have to go through these ups and downs. And I don't have to deal with that sort of stuff. Like I don't get those random pictures. What I get is like Facebook invites for particular profiles, right?
Okay,
where they're like, those are whatever, but I don't get random stuff sent to my thing. But as a woman, as you're growing your Instagram, especially in the type of field that you're in, dealing with relationships and having these awkward conversations with people are uncomfortable just hearing it, not even saying it, and then you're trying to get them to be a little more vulnerable. What's that been like as far as growing your social media, and how are you dealing with people as legitimate questions come in, and what kind of response are you getting from people?
I want to say that most of my followers are amazing, legitimate followers, right? So the ones who send me those dick pictures are not followers. They're just trying to see what I'm going to do, right? How I'm going to engage. And it doesn't turn me off. I've been doing therapy for 25 years. I have heard and seen a lot of things. So it doesn't really it shocks me, but on some level, it doesn't shock me because, theoretically, my son's like, Mom, that's going to happen to you. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen. But when it happens, you're still in shock because you kind of think like, really, do guys really do this? But I would say most of the people that follow me, the men, are complete gentlemen. And there's a turn. I think, it's the way that men have been socialized to relate to women in a certain way. But there is a turn when you kind of get over that hump. Then the Instagram and my message really comes through. And now I'm getting most of my followers will send me legitimate questions about their relationships, about something that they're struggling with. So I would hate to, have, that part diminish any of the questions and comments that I get from my followers, which is the majority of my followers are following me because they're now looking at the content. And, I try to mix it up a little bit. You guys know I'm a little bit silly, a little bit fun. And then I've got some solid advice on different topics that we go through and we talk about.
A little bit of since we are going into your content, how do you feel about the Patriots this year?
It kind of sucks. I think I'm selling that jersey, but nobody wants it.
I saw.
I send it to you as a Christmas gift.
I'll take it. I'll drop it in the back. Cam Newton's in the back, right next to the Charger hat. They suck too this year, by the way. Yeah. But I've also seen in your content that you have pictures wearing like a Green Bay Packers jersey. So what's the deal with the sports memorabilia?
Well, okay, so I post my stuff on the weekend with my jersey, and the Pats are doing terribly. So my followers, which are amazing football fans, also. And my deal is if you send it, I will wear it and I will post it. So I had a Packers jersey sent from one of my followers. So I wore it. I posted it with shame.
You didn't look very happy, that's for sure.
And then I had, one from New York Giants. I mean, these are amazing people. I'm so touched that people go out of their way. They spend their money and they send me something. And I think, oh my gosh, that's so thoughtful and so mindful. So that's where all of that comes from. Like today I had one of my followers sent me drumsticks from the former drummer of Aerosmith. I'm thinking like, wow, that is so cool. So I'm just touched by their sentiments and their thoughtfulness. And they usually have a little note to say, I'm just paying you back for everything that you do for us and with your content. So that really, that's what keeps me going and motivates me to do all of that. The dick pictures, all that stuff, they're kind of funny. They're disturbing at times. And then, I do get sometimes, but not anymore. I'm kind of over it. At first, it's shocking because I've only really been on for like 8 months now. So it's adjusting to those things. But I know that, doing therapy, that's all out there. It's just different when you actually see it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Because most guys who come into my office are not going to drop their pants if they do.
No, I bet they won't.
Hasn't happened yet.
All right, Anita, I'm gonna challenge you. You have so much flair. Like you got great style in what you do. The way you take your pictures, colors, and all that stuff. It's amazing. And as you start collecting stuff, you're going to need.
What do I need? Something over here?
A swag wall. You're going to need a swag wall, right? I mean, that's where all this stuff comes from. These are, this comes from, people who have been on the show, people who have sent stuff, people whose shows I've been on. So it's kind of, for me, the whole podcast space, especially when you're doing your show for some of your content, maybe not all the time, because I like how you move, and sometimes you're like with the pillows, and sometimes you're on the chair. Like you have this, like it's well thought out for you, but I think one of your scenes needs to be a swag wall so that your followers and them can see what's going on. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. And I've thought about that. I'm like, how do I keep it? How do I not make it tacky. So I know I have a very small studio in here, but that's a great idea. I have thought about that because I feel like I should do that to appreciate, like you have all your stuff in the background. And if I gave you that and I see it there, I'm like, oh, he really appreciates it, that it's sitting there and not just shoved in a closet somewhere and not being appreciated. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I got to figure that out. And a lot of my, the pillows, it just comes to me. A lot of what I do is not orchestrated or rehearsed. And sometimes, I'm a little wacky and I'm thinking, oh, guys, sorry about that. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, I'm babbling. And they're like, no, we left it because I'm just being me. Because I could get on here, be totally theoretical, talk about, but who wants to watch that and listen to that? So they've, it's just taking the gems with you, the journey of, what I'm doing. Because we could all pick up a book and read it, and we can always listen to an academic lecture on YouTube. But I try to make it a little bit, a lot more stuff on my page than just lecturing at people. Who wants to be lectured at? No one does.
All right, I consider you a friend, even though I've never met you in person. Because I always tell you good morning. You're always doing some cool stuff. So a couple questions on a personal level.
Yes.
Your coffee looks amazing. Now, I don't drink coffee, but my wife does. So can you give me a little heads up on what you do? I think she might appreciate that.
So my coffee has been cursed. In the Indian culture, you believe there's something called najur. I don't know if you guys ever heard about it. The Jewish culture, it's the third eye religion, I should say. It's like if you show something off too much, and the coffee for me is not really showing off, but my mom would say, oh, you posted too many pictures about it, and that's what happened. It's going to all come full circle. So I've had this Nespresso machine. I should be paid by them, right? For 15 years, okay? And that thing broke yesterday. And I said, it's Najur. You're posting all those pictures about your coffee, and people put, they put Najur on it. It's like the evil eye. They cursed it. So it did break after 15 years, though. That's quite an amazing machine. It's a Nespresso machine. And I really did it when I switched from because I don't drink milk. I took that out of my diet for, I had some allergies and so forth. It is the best machine ever. I'm telling you, 15 years, I've got to go out and buy a brand new one. So you're not going to see that coffee tomorrow or the next day.
Not tomorrow, the next day, but you'll get back on that horse, right? You're going to get that going.
Espresso.
Good thing it's Christmas.
It looks fancy, but it's not very fancy.
Okay, does that mean your husband could go back on what you just said about appliances if he gets you?
No, that's not a Christmas present. I buy that for myself, honey. That would be thrown if I got that. That's a need. I need to have that. That's not a want.
It's a must. I mean,
it's a must.
you have the cold over there. You have this little white stuff that falls from the sky, and it's really, really cold. So I don't know. Maybe it's that aspect of your whole picture that makes your coffee look so delicious. Because I don't drink coffee at all, but I mean, a hot cocoa it looks so fancy the way you do it. And I was like, oh.
No, it's actually my feet. My feet lovers love those pictures in the morning. I always thought my feet were ugly, but that's a whole nother show.
Well, I'm not a foot person. I was looking at the coffee, so.
Oh my.
Anita, thank you very much for coming on again. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for sharing some of the most uncomfortable conversations that everybody needs to have. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being an inspiration to people. And ladies, can you let people know how they can follow you if they want to get more of your content?
Yep, they can follow me on Instagram at Ask Anita Astley, and also on YouTube, Ask Anita Astley. How's your YouTube channel coming? I need to do more work on that. It's just finding the time to do all of this. Even though I love it, I need to organize. It's coming along, but it's neglected. So I need to pay more attention to that. I got to work that out. Oh, speaking of what's being neglected, ladies and gents, I got to go get pizza. It's Pizza Friday at my house. So my kids are already asking me before the show started. So Anita, thank you again very much for coming on the show. Appreciate you taking the time. Have a Merry Christmas and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys today. Peace. Thank you. Bye-bye. Namaste, guys. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.network.